Hello to anybody and everybody who's watching this video. My name is Carmen and welcome back to another Animal Crossing video. And in today's video, I'm going to share with you some pretty simple ways to get your island to at least a 3-star rating. Now you may be wondering, well, why only 3 stars and not 5? And it's because if you didn't know, you unlock quite a few things when you reach 3 stars on your island. Before we get started, I'm going to share with you really quickly some of the things that you can unlock from gaining 3 stars. You can unlock terraforming, where you can alter your land and your waters. This is really helpful for the design aspect of your island. It'll give you so many options to design your world the way you want to, and you can make your island completely unique to your likes and interests. You can also unlock boat rides from Cap'n. You can get boat rides from him once a day and it will cost you 1,000 Nook miles. Taking a trip to these islands are very helpful because you can find things that you may not already have on your island, such as crops, different types of bushes, flowers, and more. So by doing this, you'll get access to a whole lot of materials. You can also unlock an expansion of Harv's Island. If you pay these little guys, they will bring in the NPC vendors to Harv's Island, where you can then have access to them from there instead of waiting for them to come around every day of the week. Some of these characters include Red, Leaf, and Sahara, and many more. And one of the last things you can unlock out of many is KK Slider, and how he can come to your island on Saturdays to play music. Now that you have an idea of all the things that you can unlock when you reach a 3-star rating, I'm going to tell you a bit about the island evaluation and how it works. So the island evaluation system is basically just a point system that is an internalized way for the game to rank your island, and that point system is simplified by giving you a 1 to 5 rating. So instead of breaking it down into 100 points here and 100 points there, it basically makes it nice and easy for you to get an understanding of what your island may be looking like for its rating. This system is split into 2 different categories, one being island scenery and the other being island development. And depending on how many points you have for each category, it will directly translate into what you have for a rating. So if you don't have very many points, then you're not going to have enough stars to maybe unlock what you want, but in today's video I'm going to show you some simple ways on how to get there. So let's learn how to get your island to a 3-star rating. Okay, so we are going to start with the island development category. This includes things like buildings and structures. A great way to get closer to achieving a 3-star island is to have a lot of buildings on your island, such as the museum, Nook's Cranny, Able Sisters, and more. It helps to have these upgraded because it really gives your island that variety. Having each of these buildings is worth 15 points each. This is probably one of the more important ones, as having buildings on your island is very essential to your island's development. In the beginning of your game, you will always have a building to upgrade. It doesn't matter if it's Resident Services, Nook's Cranny, you will always have something to upgrade. To upgrade Nook's Cranny, you will have to have at least 30 days of active playtime in the game. You'll have to buy and sell at least 200,000 bells worth of goods, and Mabel will have to visit your island at least once. To upgrade the museum from the tent, you will have to give Blathers at least 15 bugs or fish, and to upgrade the Resident Services, you'll have to upgrade your house, pay off your initial loan, unlock Nook's Cranny, build a bridge, and find a plot for at least 3 new villagers. But yes, having these buildings in the first place and upgrading them really helps to contribute to your island development category. So make sure that is one of your main focuses. Another thing that counts towards your island development is how many villagers you have on your island. In order to reach a 3-star rating, you will need to have at least 8 or more villagers in residence. There are a few ways that you will be able to gain new villagers. You can find random villagers on mystery islands when you take a trip on Dodo Airlines. That is if you have a plot available. And if you also have your campsite, then every once in a while a random villager will come to it and you can choose whether they can stay or leave. You can always resort to maybe traveling to another person's island to get them when they're in boxes. That is also a pretty big help when you're trying to just fill up those empty plots. But remember, in order to have a 3-star island, you will have to have at least 8 or more villagers. Something that counts both towards your island's development and scenery is furniture and crafting DIY items. I personally had around 30 DIY items and regular items scattered around my island when I got my 3-star rating, so that is the amount that I would advise you to put down as well. Not only does this give you scenery and development points, but it also makes your island look really nice, which is kind of the point. So make sure you take the time to learn some DIY recipes and put it to use. And just so you know, it doesn't have to all be strictly DIY recipe items. It also helps to include items that you buy from the ABD machine with your Nook miles, and items that you can buy from Nook's Cranny as well. Now we are going to move on to your island's scenery. A great way to up the points on your island scenery is to plant a lot of flowers. And when I say a lot of flowers, I mean a lot of flowers. Typically, you should have 100 or more. And when planting your flowers, don't forget that variety really helps. You are most certainly going to earn more points if you have a variety of flowers on your hands. So whenever Leaf shows up and he has some flowers for you, or you have a new selection of flowers in your Nook's Cranny, make sure you jump on that and buy them because it will really help you to get to 3 stars. Now that you have all of your flowers planted, you can also plant some fruit trees and bushes. Again, having a variety of each of these two really helps. It is really good to have a lot of trees on your island, but make sure that you don't have so many as to block traffic. Isabel will mention this. If you do, it will be too forested and it will affect the flow of your island, so make sure you don't plant too many trees. Not only does this help you achieve 3 stars, but it also makes your island look really nice. It can make your island seem a little more natural if you like that. Now we are going to talk about fencing. Fencing is a very important part to your island's scenery. Make sure when you put them down that you have at least 50 fencing. I'm not too sure if variety affects this, but it wouldn't hurt to have more than one type of fencing as well. If you don't like it, it's fine. You can always take it down once you have achieved 3 stars. Now, these are a couple things that could negatively affect your scenery points. Having too many weeds around your island and having a lot of clutter. Weeds can spawn very quickly if you don't do your regular maintenance on your island. Maybe if you log off for a while and you come back, you'll have a lot of weeds. This will really affect the way your island looks and the way that your scenery is going to be scored, so make sure you pick those up as often as possible. As for clutter, that kind of counts for a lot of the natural things you may find on your island, such as rocks, branches, and more. I know this can be an issue for some people because I myself love to decorate with things such as mushrooms, which can count as clutter, so maybe hold off until you get 3 stars. You can always put them down again later. Something else that can negatively affect your island as a whole can be having too many things too close together, otherwise known as traffic jamming your island. So if buildings are too close to each other, if there's too many trees, as I said before, things like this will negatively affect what you could possibly get for a rating. So kind of go over a plan in your head on your island as to make sure that everything is pretty organized and nothing is too cluttered, that it will affect the living of the residents and yourself on your island. And with that all said and done, these were a few ways that you can up your chances of getting a 3-star island. I didn't go extremely into depth, but there are a lot more really in-depth tutorials, and I will link that down below, the website that I kind of used for reference. It really goes into a lot more depth there, so if you're looking for a little bit more of an explanation than there was in this video, make sure you check that out in the description. I really hope this helped you guys out. I know that when I was starting and I was trying to get a lot of unlocks such as terraforming and more, that I was kind of confused as to why I was not getting these proper ratings on my island, and that is because I didn't know that there are so many things that actually affected what you can get for a rating. So knowing what I know now, I decided that I wanted to share it with you guys just to kind of help you guys out into reaching your full potential for designing your island. But again, with that said, thank you to anybody and everybody who watched this video. I really appreciate it, and I would also appreciate if you subscribed and liked this video. Doing these 2 things helps us as a channel to grow, and it also helps me push my content out to more people who enjoy this type of content, and in turn inspires me to make more of it, so it's kind of a win-win for everybody. Okay, thank you again so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!